people across the country begin to travel for spring break. Health officials say they're worried that could lead to another surge in COVID cases. ABC 10 News reporter Jared Aarons taking an in-depth look at what businesses such as hotels and restaurants are doing to welcome visitors safely.
For the first time in over a year, the Scott family is on vacation away from their home in Oklahoma.
So we're here for spring break, right? We have our kids.
It's Jason and Michael's first time flying a kite, but for parents Dustin and Jessica, they're as concerned with safety as with sun and sand.
We still take precautions. We wear masks, we social distance. We're staying at an Airbnb versus a hotel just because it's kind of our own private space.
The Scotts are just 4 of millions of people traveling for spring break as pandemic restrictions ease across the country. The TSA says screenings nationwide topped 1 million passengers per day for the last week, the most since the pandemic started. But in the wake of huge maskless crowds overtaking parts of Florida, the CDC reissued its warning against non-essential travel, even for people who've been vaccinated.
Our case rates are down, and that's fantastic. It's great that we're getting into the red tier, but we do need to use caution because we're not out of the woods yet.
Dr. Corinne McDaniels-Davidson is the director of SDSU's Institute for Public Health. She says spring break can be a turning point in the pandemic, for better or worse.
We've learned what can happen if you open too quickly or if you loosen restrictions too quickly, especially after the Thanksgiving and Hanukkah and Christmas surge upon a surge. And I think people are a little more cautious now. They don't want to see that happen again.
The timing really couldn't be better for businesses that rely on tourism. But while places like hotels and restaurants are happy to welcome people back, they're quick to point out there are still rules in place.
And it is hard, of course, when somebody says, I don't want to wear a mask. But there's somebody there at the hotel that says that is what we require.
Namara Mercer from the San Diego County Lodging Association says hotels across the region have a year's worth of practice keeping guests safe and enforcing rules, whether it's essential workers, people experiencing homelessness, or tourists using the rooms.
What they do on a daily basis is the same whether there's 5 people in the hotel or if there's 1,000 people in the hotel.
As for restaurants, industry leaders say it's up to each business to follow guidelines and remind people from out of town that California isn't Florida.
It comes down to the responsibility and the maturity of operators downtown, really, that will basically let people know that these are the rules and we won't tolerate anything but, following protocols.
Dr. McDaniels-Davidson also says businesses can lure more customers by being open about safety measures, even advertising the steps they take that people don't see.
Tell me you're opening all the doors and windows. Tell me you're turning over the air 5 times or more in an hour. Show me the numbers on your CO2 monitors so that I know that if I do go inside, it's more like being outside than it is to being in a stale indoor environment.
People like the Scotts who are enjoying San Diego safely. Jared Aarons, ABC 10 News.
Now, when it comes to economic recovery, spring break will help, but experts say San Diego won't see its tourism industry fully recover until the convention center can reopen. By the way, if you have a story that needs an in-depth look, we'd love to hear from you. Just send an email to that address there, tips@10news.com.